Should you buy a used 2019 Audi RS5? We're going to try and answer that question in today's Vehicle Visionary video. I borrowed this model from my friends at Or Cadillac here in Shreveport, Louisiana. If you would like to know more about this particular model, check out the link down in the description of the video. And what are the highlights? Well, the turbocharged V6 has plentiful horsepower, puts power to the ground via all-wheel drive, and there is a lot of cargo capacity. That's a big surprise. A very nice, well laid out interior, very interesting infotainment system, and ultimately a very sharp look. One thing is for sure, as we've closed everything up, the doors, the hood, all that good stuff, you can see the very menacing look of the RS5. The nice large grille that is very low profile as far as where it starts and where it ends. Being down here on the very lower portion of the front end gives it a more menacing look, a better look as far as the stance. And you know, you have the Quattro all-wheel drive. It is rear-wheel drive biased, but it is all-wheel drive. The RS5 logo and that classic Audi logo right there in the upper center of the grille. Nice look on the headlights with the daytime running lights. Everything here obviously has a purpose. We'll take a quick look through the areas of the vehicle right here. We'll show you in the rear where the air actually flows through the front end. I can't really get in that area and show you, but that is active. It is an air curtain right there, and a nice slope to the hood line right here. The RS5 logo obviously right here. Now that's one thing, if I was going to sound the gong, would be right here, is the fact that it is not active. That should be active in my personal opinion. Now you do have the power adjustable side view mirrors. As far as everything here goes, I know a common question, what about the turn signal indicators being built into the side view mirrors? You can see that they are. I'll give you a quick look around here, and something that's very interesting on how the door handles work. You actually pull up and kind of, not really out, just more of an up position right there, an up angle as far as that goes. And a very sloped windshield working its way onto the sloped roof line. It looks really good, that's for sure. The one challenge that does present is the fact that it's a little challenging to not only get in and out of the back seat area, but it does reduce headspace. You do have the frameless windows here. Tell me what you think about that. Do you like that? Do you not? Does it make a difference? We'll take a look at what we have here as far as the Alcantara material goes. Carbon fiber right here. Decent sized door bend. We're going to have the comfortable armrest. A lot of the time, I know I'm guilty of doing it myself. Us automotive journalists push down on that and we'll tell you if it's comfortable or not. Well, it may not be soft to the touch as much when you do this as it is when you just put your arm up there. It's going to be contrasted or highlighted by the contrast stitching right here. And we'll take a quick look into the back seat area. And depending on where the seats are set, well, that's going to determine a few things. I will give you a quick look at the overall design of the rear seats here. They do look very nice. You can fold down the armrest right here. We have space within, quite a bit there as far as that goes. And let's hop inside real quick. A little hard to do, like I said. Now, based on where the front seat is right now, I actually have a reasonable amount of leg space. But at 5'10", well, you can see what's above my head. Let me make sure I am sitting up as high as possible. Well, I could actually put my head on the roof right there if I wanted to. You could kind of sit down a little bit in the seats back here and be okay. And you'll see that you do have tri-zone climate control, dual in the front, single here in the rear. We can obviously adjust things accordingly. And then connectivity options back here, the USB and the 12-volt power outlet available as well. And one thing I do like at this particular angle, you can get a little bit of a look at the ambient lighting right there. We're probably not going to get the best look overall just because of the fact that it is a little bit bright out here today. But there is a reasonable amount of horsepower under the hood. That's a good thing. That's why these oh crap handles are here, because when the driver decides to drop the handle, well, the rear seat passengers can say oh crap and grab those handles. Under the hood is the turbocharged 2.9 liter V6. it makes a healthy 444 horsepower and has 443 pounds-feet of torque. You can see the bracing right here, and it puts power to the ground. Ultimately, we did talk about having all-wheel drive here, but it goes through an 8-speed paddle-shifted automatic transmission. And as we take a look here at the rear, I'll give you the MPG's 18 City 27 Highway. You have the nice spoiler that comes up off of the trunk, the very nice tail lights there, and what I would say amounts to a cannon worth of exhaust. Let's take a listen to exactly what that sounds like. Now, while there may not be a lot of interior storage capacity, little nooks and crannies and things that you might have in some vehicles, one thing you will find is a plentiful amount of cargo capacity, especially when you lower those rear seats. We're looking at 11.6 to 21.8 cubic feet. And when you lower these seats, I'm only going to do one side, but we'll reach in here and you'll use the lever right there. It maximizes cargo capacity to 35 cubic feet. And how about tire and wheel size? 275 on the width. That is a very wide tire. A 60 series sidewall, which is fairly low profile, wrapped around the 20-inch wheels. You'll see the RS5 brake calipers right there in red. I think that sets things off very nice against the black exterior color. And one thing that I thought was interesting here is the fact that you don't have capless fuel fill. A lot of people don't like capless fuel fill, so in this case, you have somewhat of an old school style gas cap. The only thing is that you don't get that clicking sound when you turn it too far. And for the most part, we're gonna see a mirror image, at least to a great degree, with what we saw on the rear door. Here on the front door, on the passenger side, a little bit more space within the door bin, but pretty much the same look for the most part. You can see the carbon fiber trim that works its way into the interior across the dashboard. There's the Quattro logo, and just a look at what it looks like on the dash as far as its design goes. A nice amount of space within the interior of the glove box. And then we'll take a look here, some connectivity options here. We're gonna have the 12 volt, but I tell you what, it's hard to get your hand down in there. At least for me, it is. And let's see if I can get that back in there. There's the 12 volt, there's the USB connectivity, there's the push button start and stop for the engine, cup holders, and you can see that this is not actually a touch screen. We're gonna look over that a little bit later on. Not hard to get used to using, not hard to use at all. I do like the way the shifter is set up. Very easy to get your hand around. Let's do that with my right hand since that's what I'd be doing anyway. But very easy to use. I like the shape. That looks good. Here's the control for the volume and turning the radio on and off. And you'll see, again, quite a bit of carbon fiber throughout the interior. And there is what is inside of the center console. That's your wireless charging right there. And as you can see, more USB connectivity. And one thing we haven't talked about here is that while it's not a full panoramic sunroof, it really is a large sunroof here as far as being more than just conventional size. And you'll see here on the driver's side door, there are a few more accessories. Mainly, you're going to see the typical features and functionality you expect there, but you will also have seat memory. And one thing, let me hop out here, that I do want to touch on. You probably know what everything is here, but what I like right here, that's the massage function. I'm gonna probably turn that on when I hop into the driver's seat. Here's the control for the headlights. And before we do that, I do want to do one thing that we haven't done yet that I know a lot of you like for me to do. Here is the remote. You can see what all you have there. Power folding side view mirrors when you lock the vehicle. So just so you can see what all you have. Obviously, you can lock and unlock the vehicle and take care of business on everything. You also can open the trunk area with this remote and the RS5 logo on the rear. Okay, I'm gonna take a look at the dashboard here for this model, which, by the way, if you were gonna buy a 2023, this is basically what you'd get because it hasn't changed since 2018. So, if you're wondering about that, well, now you know. And something interesting here, I showed you where the control is for the headlights right here. So when you turn the headlights on, you'll notice that the display changes for the navigation on the instrument cluster. A very nice high-end look, by the way, as far as that goes. And see what I'm doing right there? And if you listen, you can hear that I'm revving the engine. So kind of a neat setup right there as far as the power and the torque goes and what that does. I think that's a pretty neat setup, that's for sure. Some people might just yawn at that. I don't know. And nice large shifter paddles. I really like the way those are set up. They're big, they're actually kind of thick too. So very easy to get a hold of. And then if you've ever wondered, yes, these Audi RS5s do come with the turn signal option. So if you ever see somebody driving down the road and their turn signals aren't working, it's not because the option isn't here, in case you're wondering. Okay, and now I can't say anything sarcastic about the lever over here because that just controls the function of the windshield wipers and all that good stuff. But a good look at the steering wheel here, the steering wheel mounted controls. You're also going to have the RS5 logo down there, or the RS logo at least. And something that I mentioned earlier is the fact that you don't have a touch screen here. So for 2019, here's what you have. You're going to use everything down here, very simple to do. If you're like Monk, you know what? You'll be happy because you won't have any fingerprints on your screen, but you can see that this is how you change between driving modes. And depending on how you want the vehicle to act and ride and all that good stuff and sound, let's see if you can hear it from inside. I hope you can hear that. That sounds really cool. And then down here, I'm going to use this to bring up navigation, and you can bring that up, or you can turn it off, or you can go into different areas as far as the options go for the infotainment screen. A very simple system to use. I know a lot of people are probably going to say, you know what, I don't like that not being a touchscreen, but once you use it for the first time, or a few times maybe, you're definitely going to find out that it's not difficult to use at all. And one thing I did want to do here, let me show you what we have in the way of rear view camera options. A lot going on there, very easy to use and navigate. You do have a few different views, and all I'm doing is just scrolling through with the scroll wheel right here. I probably don't need to tell you that, but just in case you were wondering how I was doing that, well, now you know. You can see your trajectory lines right there, and you also have that overhead 360-degree view over there on the right-hand side. A very simplistic, I would say, interior, but also high-end, high-tech, very useful in a multitude of ways, but it sure sounds good in here too, doesn't it? By the way, a couple of things to highlight real quick. There is a head-up display, very nice head-up display there, and if you're directionally challenged, right there in the mirror is a compass. Okay guys, here we go on the test drive. One thing I do want to point out before I drop the hammer up here just a little ways is the fact that unlike a lot of vehicles, when you turn the ignition off, it goes back to whatever the base driving mode is. Well, this RS5 does not do that. So I think that's a big win in a multitude of ways. So if you're in individual or whatever mode you're in, well, it's not a problem. So what I'm gonna do, we've got somebody behind us that might think I'm trying to race them, but you know what, I'm gonna just wait a second here. Let's get up here past this car and we'll slow down just a little bit. They're probably gonna think we're gonna race, but it's okay. Woo! Man, it didn't sound like much, but good Lord, this thing got up and ran. Holy cow. Got my buddy Josh here in the passenger seat. What'd you think about that?
Man, it sucks you back.
It really does. You wouldn't expect a four-door to do that, and you know, it just didn't sound as powerful as I thought it would, but it obviously felt like it. You could really feel that torque. You got a punch in the gut that time. And you know, the handling is just as impressive. Now, I will say, depending on what mode you're driving in, the ride quality can be rather harsh. But if you go to comfort, it improves. And so, depending on what your situation is, well, you know. But the good thing about it is if you go out on a spirited drive and drive in dynamic mode and you're sore, well, that's why you have the massage seats. So tell me what you think down in the comments. Should you buy a used 2019 Audi RS5? Definitely a very nice vehicle, fun to drive and comfortable depending on which driving mode you are driving in. If you would like to come in to Orr Cadillac and buy this particular model, come in and ask for Josh Mayfield and tell him that Tom from Vehicle Visionary sent you his way. There's a link down in the description of the video if you would like to know more. I'm going to say a special thanks to my friends at Orr Cadillac for loaning me this Audi RS5 for the day, and a special thanks to each and every one of you for being kind enough to take the time to watch and give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn about other vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I will see you there.